Good morning, Patriots. JT here, Serenity Farms prepping. So, you've made as many physical preparations as you can. You've got food stacked to the rafters. You've got medical supplies. You've got extra tools, first aid kits, self-defense mechanisms. Everything you can possibly think of. You're buying it whenever you can. Physically, you've done what you could to get prepared for the inevitable physical requirements of an SHTF. We're all a work in progress. Have you been working on your mental toughness? That's a tough one. I bring this up because recently I had to take a couple days off. Not from life, from this, from social media, from investigating, from looking for information, for spreading information and intel as I get it. I just had to stop. At some point, it's too much. And I am about as mentally strong, pig-headed, if you will, as anyone I know. Too much so sometimes, but it's served me well. If you remember, over the past years, I've stated in videos how during the course of my career, and even now, because of that career, I can dehumanize a situation. I literally do not treat the undesirable as a human. They made a conscious decision to do whatever they were going to do that goes against all moral, ethical, social, and legal venues, and they forfeited their right, in my opinion. Now, that wasn't something that I strived to do, even knew that I was learning. It's just something that occurred. It was my young 18, 19-year-old persona doing what it had to do for self-preservation and for me to get the job done that I had to do as quickly, efficiently, and in many cases, legally as possible. It took many years before I realized what I was doing. And actually, when my last incident at work ended my career, when I went to a psych for a few visits, and that's when it was determined that I have that trait. And I still do, and it still will serve me well. But I no longer have the constant daily stimulation of my profession. I no longer voluntarily walk into the belly of the beast every day, surrounded by 2,500 people who can't stand me, consider me a pig, and then half of the staff I worked with didn't not like me, but were useless in their own rights, making my job all that more difficult, hazardous, and so on. I don't have any of that. Once you retire, it took a couple years to downshift. So part of me is worried I will lose my edge. That edge being that ability to look at situations mentally while I'm standing outside it, but still directly in the middle of it, likely physically involved. Now, I still retain a healthy fear. Fear is a great motivator. We've talked about this before. It paralyzes some people. It inspires others to take actions, usually the right ones. But we have millions of people in this country, tens of millions, probably 100 more, that when incidents begin happening, false flags, the illegal invading military-age men setting off terror attacks, just food rationing, gas rationing, grid downsizing, any of the stuff that we've talked about for years, when those all start happening, they're going to snap like a twig. They are going to be literal buckets of mush sitting in a corner, drooling, crying, unable to speak, unable to function. And some of these people are going to become dangerous. Within your own circle, very likely members of your own family are going to lose it. You think right now, knowing all your people, being around them, you got a good idea who potentially will lose it. But do we really, truly know anyone unless we've been in battle with them? All right? My family, for instance. My father and my brother, one of my brothers, were both in the same line of work as I was. The same amount of time. At the same time. Even at the same facility. That's the way it works. I know how they're both going to react in a given situation because I was actually involved with situations with them while we were employed. Once again, just how it worked out. So, those two I know. My brother-in-law also was in the same line of work. Didn't work at the same facility. Didn't work at the same type of facility. Knowing what I know about him now, I can count on him. My son-in-law is in law enforcement. Got a good idea how he's going to react, although he's never had to on anybody but he carries. But I got a good idea when the time comes he'll do what needs to be done. Might need a little encouragement, might need a little calm down, but with a little instruction, I think he'll be fine. I cannot vouch for the rest of the people in my family because I don't know. I do think I have one member of my family who's going to be the proverbial bucket of mush in the corner, but that's as far as that would go. Just sit there and maybe after things calm down, the person comes back around. We just don't know. When some of these people that we know or don't know, when they lose it, there's no coming back from it. They're not going to recover. These are things that you need to start thinking about. What are we going to do with these people? How are we going to deal with them? We're going to have to make decisions when these people start losing it. What to do. I'm in the middle of nowhere, which is where I want to be. If someone within my group starts to lose it for any reason, if it has to happen, I hope that it's during times where we're just going about our daily business and for some reason the seclusion from the rest of the world, the lack of any modern technology, whatever the case may be, the isolation, so to speak, that they just can't take it anymore and they have a quote unquote nervous breakdown. Can they recover from that? Is there a way that we fix that? No, there isn't really. Not when we're where we are. And venturing out could be too dangerous or not even a possibility based on circumstances we believe is coming. Now, what about if we're in the middle of defending the compound and one of the people within the group loses it? It could be someone who's not involved directly in the confrontation, but loses it and is running around screaming, gonna get hurt, killed, or worse. What do? You expose yourself, or worse, is one of the people that is directly responsible for the security of the compound is losing it, equipped with full everything. Now, most people in the midst of battle, so to speak, that lose it react one of two ways. They either become so paralyzed that they cannot act, which means even if they've got 500 rounds and 2 defensive tools, they'll just sit there. They simply can't do what needs to be done. The other is the opposite extreme, where they will go crazy and anything that moves is fair game, so to speak. Friend, foe, they don't know. It won't matter. Those are situations, unfortunately, that we're going to have to deal with as they occur. Sadly, hopefully it works out for everyone. But there's going to be a lot of people, especially in your cesspool shithole cities, that are helpless. They're trapped, rather enslaved in their 50-story apartment buildings with thousands of other people, not allowed to leave. No utilities, no water, no food, nothing. They may have some self-defense tools. You're going to end it. But they're not going to end it until they decide it's so hopeless that they got to take someone with them first. They're going to be doing it under the guise that they're saving them by doing this because they know what's going to happen if they allow this person, child, probably a woman, to stay behind. We all know what I'm talking about. It's already happening. We're just not being told, because they understand what happens when people finally have enough. I don't know. Is that ever going to happen? But you know what I'm talking about. We also have the issue of millions and millions more people did something really stupid several times. And as they become sick, injured, disabled, they're going to come to the end of their rope, literally and figuratively. And they're going to see their way out with no medical services, no hope for a future. These people can be dangerous, and we need to pay close attention. There's going to be people in my compound that did things I wish they hadn't done. There's nothing I can do about what they did. I have to consider my entire group. The group has to be completely aware that there's people potentially going to be within the group that could be sharing what they have with the rest of us. That can't be denied any longer. We're surrounded by people. Part of the evil genius of the entire thing was the scumbags that were doing it knew there would be millions of people like me and hopefully you that weren't going to partake of poison. So if I was them, I would have devised something that, fine, for all the idiots that run right out and do it, let's design it so that after they've done it, they share it with everyone else. So all the people who decided they didn't want to do it, they're going to get it anyway. How about that? We know what's happening. Mental issues are going to be crazy, crazy, crazy. There's not really a way to prepare for all of this that's coming. Sure, we can talk about it. We can watch movies. We see this with that. We're like, okay, that's how I'd handle that. That's how I'd handle that. That's how I'd... No, you can have a good idea how you think you're going to handle it until it actually happens and it's you and it's live and it's right there. And now you got to make decisions that you've only made in your mind or on a damn video game. Okay? But Bruce Lee used to say, boards don't hit back. Yeah. So think about that stuff. Unfortunately, we're going to have to do more than think about it very shortly. But that's all I got for now. www.storedchef.com. SFP15 if you still need to get some more food. Once again, get it anywhere you want. Just go get some. Get everything you possibly can of everything you think you're going to need. If you don't need it, you'll be able to barter or trade or whatever. Okay. JT, signing out.